Hey, welcome back to the garage. Today's project, 1957 Evinrude 3 horsepower, rebuild the carburetor. It does run, but not very well. I've already done points and condensers. I know the spark is good. I tried to do sort of a quick clean on the carburetor. It needs a kit, so I'll probably do 2 videos, a remove and reinstall video, and then a separate video for the rebuild itself. Really simple job, one screwdriver, maybe 1 or 2 wrenches, so let's get it going. Alright, get started. We're just going to take the knobs off. The choke has to come off, the knob, to get the cover off all of the way. And each one of them just has one flathead screw right in the center. Pull the screw. Might take a little prying to get the knob. There it goes. And the high speed. Choke, low speed, high speed. Okay, covers come off with a couple screws on each side. These screws really should stay in the cover like that one. That first one, the retainer is gone. So, get to the other side. This doesn't have any gas in it either. You'd obviously want to drain the gas before you start this. And the reason for that is this petcock shuts the gas off. A lot of times it doesn't line up. There's a slot to get it out of there, and it doesn't line up to the slot in the off position. So you may have to actually turn it. This one's got to open to get that cover off. So if there was gas in there, you would have filled up the float bowl just now. Here's the carburetor. So I guess we'll get this line off next. Okay, fuel line, there's a nut here and a nut here. This one will be 7/16. Should come fairly easily. It did. Up here is a 3/8. Shouldn't be too tough to get out. Kind of bend and rotate a little bit and it'll come out. Okay, next we're going to get the silencer off. So you've got 2 screws on the front of the carburetor, and then there'll be a screen inside of there too you've got to watch for, and the 1 screw back here. So I guess it doesn't matter where we start. Back one in there, and I'm just throwing them in a little Rubbermaid container for now. These 2 screws up front, and then like I said, be ready for that screen to fall out. And there's the screen. So you can see how bad the carburetor was flooding. I mean, everything is soaked with gas. So alright, I've kind of got the motor angled up here so you can see, but there's just this one spring. It's the throttle return spring. So you can see as you throttle up, it stretches. So we're going to disconnect that, and it should stay on the throttle shaft. So not a lot to do there. And then you've got a nut here and one on the same in the same place on the other side. So these aren't usually too bad. You'll break them loose and then just have to walk them out the rest of the way with your finger. There's that nut. Okay, the other side is it's a little bit more difficult, nothing too terrible. You've got this linkage that's in the way. You could probably get the nut without that, but it's going to be a lot easier to remove it. Once you get both the screws loose, it should slide right off of there. And you can move the throttle to change the position of this screw somewhat also. Okay, with that off, now it's just another nut. And that's it. Now we're going to go to rebuilding it. Okay, we're ready to get the carburetor back on. First things first, we need a gasket. Make sure that this surface is clean. It may not look it, but there's nothing on there. Just make sure it's down to bare metal, no old pieces of gasket or anything left there. This you're going to want to pick up. And then just slide the carburetor on there, and then I'll turn it sideways here. Okay, I got the motor turned sideways so you can see a little bit better, and I'm just going to get this nut started on the stud there. Chubby fingers in a tight little spot. It can be tough, but that went pretty well actually. You can just get it started. You may need to turn it the rest of the way with the wrench, but it's started now, so now I'll get the other side. Okay, the other side, there's the stud, the nut, same deal, fat fingers. This can be frustrating at times. There it goes. Just get it threaded up as far as I can by hand. I'm going to go back and get the other side tightened with a wrench. Alright, well, once you get them both snugged up, you can just go back with a wrench, tighten them. No torque spec or anything. You wouldn't be able to get a torque wrench in there, so get them good and snug. And once both sides are done, we'll put the linkage back on. We're going to get the linkage back on it now. See it okay? There's this shaft and this shaft, and what you've got flats on the shafts, and here's the linkages. So the flats on the shaft go to the flats on the linkages with the screw on the opposite side of the flats. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on, and then I'll show you what it looks like on. Okay, there's what it looks like back on. You can see the linkage working. So, pretty easy. Okay, now if you remember taking the return spring off right here, we're going to put that back on. Just stretch it out. Oops, put the throttle down first. It stretches out and goes over that little stud right there. And the fuel line. While it's off, blow a bunch of carb cleaner through it. You never know what could be hiding inside of there. I usually like to just start the front one, then go to the back, push the line all the way up in, and then the nut should start no problem. Get them both finger tight. 3/8 and 7/16. This one's 7/16. Now there's a ferrule on there. They don't have to be any kind of crazy tight at all. Snug. Fuel line's on. Like I said, clean that out with carb cleaner. You don't know what could be hiding in it. Side covers, nothing revolutionary. You might have to spin the gas valve. You can see down in here, get the 2 screws in the holes. Just push it up there. Once you get them both started, you can let go. Okay, tighten those up. Close the fuel valve. Handle down. The other side cover, same thing. That screw started. Now there is a little tit here that holds these two together. Make sure you get that in. Back that was held up a little bit on something. But it's good now. There it goes. Okay, there's the cover. Now we'll get some knobs on it and we'll be done. Okay, choke knob. Make sure it's facing upwards. You just have to kind of feel around. I like to get my finger on top of the screw. Get it in there and you can sort of feel when the screw hits the hole. Pretty easy. Get that good and tight. Here's your choke. Now the needles on this one, I am going to go about a turn out, and that's turned in just until they stop, and then out about a turn, and that should be a good starting point. I don't normally put the knobs on right now because what I want to do is I want to get it tuned in just right, and then I'm going to set the knobs both halfway in between, but I'll put them on now just to show you. So normally what I would do, like I said, is get it tuned in, and then I'll just put the number 3 right up top. Just for demonstration purposes. It's a very specific screw. Don't lose it. Don't ever put the screw in the needle without the knob on either. It'll spread that right out and break it. That's one of those I learned the hard way. Oops. Hold the knob. Darn it. Tighten that screw up. And there you go. Same thing for the low speed. I'm just going to get rich up on the top. Again, this would normally be after I've tuned it. Get that screw started, and then you can see the brass needle sticking out. So just pull that out until it is flush with the knob. Kind of hold the knob, tighten that screw, and that's it. carburetor removed, rebuilt, and reinstalled. Like I said, check out my other videos for the rebuild on this. If you have any comments, questions, leave them in the comments section, and I'll definitely get back with you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching.